Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and I use a lot of plastic razor blades. You can buy these quite inexpensively. The last ones I just got on Amazon were this brand, F-O-S-H-I-O, Foshio or something. I got two of these holders. Not that I need those because I use them in regular holders, but 100 blades. And 100 blades is a lot of blades, especially because each one's double-sided. But anyway, if you haven't used these, they're pretty amazing. So I do a lot of work on RVs and trailers and things like that. And one of the things that, you know, if you work around those things that you always encounter are sealants and adhesives and decals, and they're on soft aluminum often. You know, anything around window frames. You've got an aluminum window frame on an aluminum shell. Anyway, and these things are lifesavers because it's so easy to damage the thin skin on those things. A couple of differences. Obviously, they're double-sided and they're made of plastic. If you're used to using the ones with the end cap, these are going to be just slightly smaller, not much. They still work fine. They've got the right indentations and markings for fitting into traditional handles. Another thing is they are wedge-shaped. They're sloped here. I don't know what, if you look, you can see that they're ground down to a chisel point here versus the traditional razor blade, which is actually sharpened on both sides. So these actually are directional. Another thing, you don't really need the handles that they come with, but you know, it's a real simple design. You can get them in different colors. Slide the razor blade in on either side till it snaps in. Now, I tend to use existing handles for different things because I like them better than those. These are actually thick, whatever kind of plastic that is, kind of heavy. It's very slippery. And again, I did a video a long time ago on these. It's inexpensive. I like them. These Titans, and this actually has a cap somewhere that slides on. But a few of the things you can do with these plastic ones that you can't do with the metal ones, at least easily. One is you can custom make shapes and sizes. So oftentimes you've got just a very narrow gap to work with. So you can try it. Sometimes nippers like this actually are a little too much, and they tend to shatter the razor blade. If you go really slow, you might be able to trim this off just like that. And why I would do this is to make a, whoops, see, that one shot out. Sometimes I have better luck using this. It seems to be a little bit softer. So if I try to cut this out real slow here, well, that one cracked quite a ways. So what I can do is custom make a shape, maybe even trim this one a little bit more. See if it'll let me. There we go. Kind of lost the thing. But anyway, so then I could fit it right down into a little slot. Not a very good one. I've tried, doing that on some metal ones, and they usually shatter. Anyway, these things, I bought them in a pack of 100, plus the handles. And 100 of these things, especially since they're double-sided, is a lot. The ones I had earlier, I think I paid a lot more for. They can last quite a while. It's actually pretty good plastic. Here's an example of using them. This is just in that Blue Point thing. I just stuck some duct tape on here so you can see I'm not catching on the wood. But if I use a traditional scraper like this, you know, it starts gouging, and you can see the, you know, it's very easy to end up scraping. You know, and even if I'm using something like this, trying very gently, I'm gouging into it. But these, you can be pretty rough because really, unless you're going it at an angle, and you can see that it does make some marks in there. It's hard plastic. You can actually easily scrape something off, which is kind of nice. Very little concern. There are larger scrapers. Here's a Snap-on. This is a PK NG90. Use this for larger things, but not that often. In fact, I was looking at my scrapers, and I discovered, just looking at the wear patterns, that this is probably my absolute favorite. This is the one that gets used the most. These are just an inexpensive pair I got, or a set I got somewhere. And that's it, followed probably by this guy, you know, little tiny ones. I don't actually use these larger ones as near as often. In fact, this one I'm not sure, these are kind of redundant, not sure I use that one for much at all. But anyway, it's the small stuff. And these can easily be used by hand, you know, sliding. Notice I'm using kind of a slicing motion. If you do the slicing motion by hand with something like this, you know, you end up carving into it. And if this was aluminum, you know, it would be a mess. I'd be destroying kind of the metal fabric or the metal skin of the RV. So you got to be really careful. But working around window seams, working around any of the access ports, you know, I've got, like on the one I was working on, there was one for a propane tank, there was one for a battery, there was external shower, there was 2 furnace, or a hot water heater and a furnace opening around the door frame, and a whole pile of windows. And to reseal all of that, I've got to take the old seal off. And that's a lot of work, and you just can't afford to make a mistake and slice into the fabric or scrape it. Plus removing decals, they can be really good for that. You can also, of course, use them in other holders, like your existing, you know, tools. This holds it in nice and fine, nice and strong, so I can easily, if I need to reach in, set the line up. Let me get a good one here. There we go. So you can see, I don't know if you can see because I'm in the way, you know, I can work and easily remove things from a distance. This one also works, a little less leverage. Sometimes it works better upside down. I'm holding a Snap-on pistol grip upside down like that. Oops, line that up. It's a steeper approach angle, so I could be rubbing this on it, but that's a possibility. Anyway, I use these all the time. If you haven't used plastic razor blades, you know, it just opens up a whole nother world. I was going to see if they worked on this very well. This is often on conduit. You get all these tags. It's kind of nice if you take those off. It looks more professional, in my opinion. Anyway, so as I try to take this off without cutting myself, sometimes what I prefer to do is soak it in this. This is my favorite stuff for actually removing things like this. So I just put a little bit on, let it sit for a minute. There's my cap for my Titan. And then once that's on, then usually it just scrapes right off. Sometimes you might need to put a little bit on after you've scraped it because they have like a plastic coating on it. And notice I'm not scratching the pipe at all. If I did it with an actual metal one, you know, I can't even slide it on there. There's too much texture on this. I think it's galvanized. So anyway, plastic razor blades, inexpensive and super handy. I think they were really pushed in the boat industry early on because people had to remove decals and license numbers and permits and stuff like that on boats, as well as doing a lot of repair work, and they'd end up having to be really careful with anything metal, so the plastic ones took over. So if you haven't used them, give them a shot. With that, Doc out.